Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to day 2 of the XD Daily Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Jesse Showalter. Like I said, this is day 2. It's exciting. It's Tuesday. Monday is over. Everybody can breathe. Everybody can relax. We're all here to learn and grow. Shake Monday off. It's a good day today. All right. Well, hey, if you're new to the Daily Creative Challenge, like I said, my name is Jesse Showalter, and the whole idea behind these Daily Creative Challenges is to challenge you to grow your skill set and to learn a little bit more about XD. And we're doing something kind of different, kind of interesting for the following 2 weeks of this Daily Creative Challenge. We're doing a crash course in UI design and a crash course in UX design. So this week is the crash course in UI design. And next week will be all about UX. So really excited for that. I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Roblox is here. Richard Otley, Sean Web Design, Jennifer Poole, Rosie Way, Ariana S., Ebovis, lots of people in the chat. Join us in the live chat over on behance.net if you haven't already. If you're watching this on YouTube, come over to Behance so you can jump into the chat. Just make sure you are logged in. That's right. Richard Otley says it's Taco Tuesday. And I didn't have a taco yet, but the day is still young. So it's always possible. With that being said, let's kick over here to my screen so you can see a little bit about what we're doing here at the Daily Creative Challenge. You can see if you log in, go to behance.net/challenge/XD. That's where you'll find all of this wonderful information. And here's how it works in 4 simple steps. Each day, you're going to receive a challenge. If you scroll down this page, you can see our challenge has unlocked. Today, we're talking a little bit about repeat grid, but also we're going to talk about typography and typographic scales and vertical rhythm and modular scales and all that fun typography, fancy schmancy stuff. It's going to be really cool. So each day those challenges will unlock. You can get started and get the file, download, follow along with me, and watch the video like you're doing right now. You can always join the community. Again, we're always here in the live chat as we're doing these streams. But you can always jump over to our Discord server. Make sure you join our Discord server. There's a link back on that previous Behance page to do that. There's like 34,000 creatives in the Adobe XD Discord server. You can get feedback, find community, post your work, get inspiration, insights, and advice all here in the XD Discord. So gotta do that, gotta check that out. Then you're gonna watch the daily shows as we're doing it, just like we are right now. You're gonna follow along, post your stuff at the end, share your work. That's the 4th step with your Behance account. Put a little case study up. Maybe post it inside of the Discord. Get some feedback. It's gonna be really fun. We got _FUZR is from Michigan. Where's everybody else coming from? Where are you visiting this Daily Creative Challenge from today? Let me know. Oh, Tim Mobesh just corrected me. Now it's 35,000 creatives inside of that XD Discord server. So that's the way to kick off a Taco Tuesday, with another 1,000 that you didn't know about. So with that being said, we are going to dig right in. Yesterday I did a little quick recap overview of XD. If you want to know more about XD, you don't feel like you're ready for the stream, that's okay. You can find the replays of these each and every day right back here on Behance. And if you want to jump over to letsxd.com, made by our good friend Howard Pinsky, lots of great resources over there about XD, about how to use it, how to animate, how to prototype, just mind-blowing stuff. So you can go check out letsxd.com. But if you downloaded that file, we can kick over to Adobe XD, and this is kind of what it will look like. You'll have a little bit of a starting file here and an empty artboard that we are gonna get started on. We got some folks from Houston, from Belgrade, Serbia, got NYC in the house. Who else we got? We got some folks from some interesting places from all around the world. This is an awesome stream. All right, so inside of our file that we have here on the screen, you'll see a little bit about today's challenge. We are on Tuesday, which is going to be challenge number 1, and we're going to be designing a resource list for a website focusing on typography and and design tips. A better description of that would be, how about a blog list, some sort of reading interface so we can see multiple different posts, because what those really is going to do is afford us the opportunity to use some Adobe fonts, select a font, do a little bit of repeat grid, create vertical rhythm within our design. And we're going to talk about scale and all that fun stuff. Really quickly, since we're talking about typography, everybody put right now your current, I don't mean all time because that's way too hard, but your current favorite font that you're using and absolutely loving. And then I'll give you my thoughts on those fonts as you post them. Post them in the live chat. We also have a little bit of an inspiration down here in our file. You're going to have the same things in each starting file each day. A little inspiration, a little explanation before we get started. So here you go. Kind of have a little bit of a layout of really typography focus. This is a typography driven design. Not a lot of bells and whistles, not a lot of color even, maybe a little bit of imagery, but mainly typography. So let's jump on over to our artboard. Let's do a mobile experience of this and we will get started, all right? Yesterday we had some folks that were saying, watch out for me down in this side of the screen. So if I'm aware of that now. I will jump over to the other side if I need to. I'm ready. Let me see. Somebody said comic papyrus. That was a joke from yesterday. Very good. We also have Montserrat, really, really nice. Calcin, Optima, very, very nice. Okay. Open Sans, always a favesies. Always a favesies. I also like Futura. Big fan of Interstate right now. And if you're not sure what your favorite font is, what your favorite typeface is right now, maybe jumping over to Adobe Fonts and doing a little exploring, which we're going to do today. But this is a great place to go. Great place to go. Let's jump back over to our design and let's get started, okay? First things first, we're going to talk typography. This is a UI crash course. Typography is important. Every piece of type you put in your design, it has character. It means something. It says something. This is all about the written word. So we're going to want to balance that with a little bit of that old school serif look, as well with some of that new school kind of sans serif look. So we need to have that nice balance between them. And so we're going to go looking, I think it's so funny. Some people have some great Poppins, of course, Avenir. So we're going to go looking for some nice fonts here. Let's go. I think there's a nice sans serif, but I'm looking at called Casimir. If you haven't used Casimir, let's check it out. Let's see what it looks like. All right. So this is just a nice thing here. Let's do a little headline. Let's enter our own text and say headline here. You can see the different weights. I'm always looking for a font family that has multiple different weights so I can use it. So I like at least 5 weights if I can get it. This is like just super selfish. This one has like 12 weights, I think. So really loving Casimir. I think that's going to be a nice kind of like sans serif. You get those, or excuse me, get those nice serifs on there, a little bit of that print press feel. So let's do that. If you've never done this before, all you have to do is activate the font using Adobe Fonts, and it's going to show up right in your system if you have the Creative Cloud app downloaded. So I'm liking this one. And so we're definitely going to go ahead and use that one. But we also are looking for a serif font. Anybody have any recommendations for a serif font? We could go browsing fonts like this, and we could just filter down. So we're looking for, a sans serif font. I want something that has like kind of a medium weight to it. Let's see. Let's up the size and just see how these things work. Yeah, that one looks nice. I don't want to go too kind of computer or modern. People are saying Helvetica. I do like, this is the one I was talking about, Interstate. Let's go check out Interstate really quick. Times New Roman, New Times Roman, always good ones. Look at this one. That's just, it's clean. It has a nice width of like each individual character. I think like I got lots of different versions and weights of it. So we're gonna go with Interstate. So let's jump back over to XD since I have both of those activated on my machine. And let's hit T for typography or text. And let's just put headline right here. All right, so we got a headline. Let's duplicate this and let's just put body copy right there. Let's zoom in. Let's get nitty gritty here for a second. First thing we're gonna do is, that's always my first step, is to pair typography. So let's find the right ones here. We got Interstate down on the bottom. And then, excuse me, up here we had, what was it? Casimir. All right. Now we've paired. Both of these are light. Both of them are the same size. There's not a lot of contrast or distinction. So this is typography 101. If we have headline and we have body copy, you got to have contrast and distinction between the two. Otherwise, when I look at this on the screen, I can't tell what is most important, right? Think of a newspaper from the 1950s, right? The big headline, war breaks out. It's massive, it's big, it's chunky, it's thick, it catches your eye. And then down below that, you have the actual story, the article, you have body copy there, right? And so we want to hit, that's where we, in web designer or front-end web development, we get this idea of H1s, headline 1s, headline 2s, headline 3s. Since we're using XD, we're most likely doing digital products, right? So we got to think of websites and mobile applications in that H1, H2, H3 kind of train of thought. And so we want to create some distinction here. The first thing we can do without changing size, color, there's lots of, we're going to talk about it. So many ways we can create contrast and distinction. But one of the ways we can do that is with weight. So we're at light, we want to skip 2, maybe even 3 weights to bring a little bit of contrast. So we're at light right now. We could go to regular, and then from regular, we go to medium. Let's try medium. It's not distinct enough, I don't think. Let's go from medium up to bold. And now you can see the contrast now all of a sudden. It's creating some interesting things on the screen. If you're not real into typography and nerd out, I nerd out on typography. Not saying the master of typography, but that I love it and it's really, really fun. Okay, so now we already have some distinction. What can we do next to create even more distinction? Well, there's 2 more things I want to talk about. Number 1 is color. We could do color. Like if I take this body copy and drop it down, you can see now there's even more contrast and distinction between the 2. Really important. But maybe that also contradicts this idea of contrast. We want to have good contrast as we're reading the body copy. This is probably one of those times when I should kick over here to the left-hand side so you can see what's happening over there on that side of the screen. So we want to have good contrast as well. So we don't want to change the body copy too much, right? Why don't we just take this headline color and save it in our swatches? We're going to use that again. Make sure we're matching all of our body copy and our headlines to be the same color. All right, here we go. So color can be a thing, but we gotta be careful how we use color. If we were gonna do like a little web design, maybe you could use an accent color. Maybe you could go to like a nice deep blue. Now we have contrast. It doesn't necessarily hurt, or you have good contrast and you have good distinction between our typography, but also it's legible, it's readable. So that's a thing you can do as well. Let's talk about the real next way you probably want to create some contrast between these 2, and that is size. So you're always going to want to work from a base size. What's your base size? Base size means your body copy, the smallest text or the most common text that you'll find on the page. You want most things to be this size. Well, my body copy is about 18. Let's say that that's what we want. Maybe let's play with it. We'll go 16, okay? So 16 is going to be our body copy. And let's do a little something. Let's use a plugin that we really like called Content Generator. And let's cancel really quick and make sure we're filling this up. We're going to get a nice text box instead of just a single piece of text. Let's go to Content Generator. Let's put a paragraph inside of it. It's going to be lorem ipsum. It's not attractive, obviously. I would prefer real something in there instead of lorem ipsum, but that's okay. So now you can see, I think it helps us to see a little bit more of that paragraph of the body copy, the distinction between the 2. How do we create even more contrast and drama in between these 2 pieces of typography? It's got to be size. We got to do size. Now, when you talk about size or creating what we're about to create, which is basically a typographic scale, right? Think of a scale. I scale type up and all of a sudden I'm creating a rhyme or a reason, a set of rules and guidelines as to how to use my typography. This is real kind of foundational typographic stuff, but it's important, okay? So we have 16 over here. Let's make this one 16 so they match. Not enough real drama. We could just start grabbing things and blowing them up, and there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. There's nothing wrong with this. But could we be a little bit more specific? We could. So I'm going to talk about 2 ways in which we can create a nice rhyme or reason or rule sets with our typography. The first thing you're going to do is, how about you just times it by 2 and see what happens, and we're going to start scaling our type up. So right here, it's 16. Why don't we come over into our inspector panel and we'll just put times 2. What do we get? We get 32. Now we're using math to create a nice anchored structure and rule set to our typography. That feels a little bit better. Now we can continue to scale up in our typographic scale and we can create another headline. Let's go with 32. We just say it again, times 2. Now we're getting headline, sub-headline, body copy. And now we can play with weight. Maybe we don't want this headline, this sub-headline to be bold. Maybe we want that regular. But now we have a little rhyme or reason on our page, right? Do we see like the scale that we're creating? This one says, war breaks out. There's some sort of sub-headline about what that actually means. And then the article is down below. So that's one way you can do. Just times it by 2. It's good stuff. It's really easy. Want to get really geeky? Who wants to get really nerdy out there with typography? Let's talk for a second about the golden ratio. Anybody know the golden ratio offhand? 1.618, I believe. Let's double check. I think it's 1.618. But if you want to learn more about this stuff, you can go over to a really great resource called gridlover.net, and you can try Gridlover. And what this is going to do is help you create different types of typographic scales. So right now it's using 1.618, the golden ratio. Okay, so how about we go back and we try all this again. Let's do, this was 16. Now we can do times 1.618. It's not going to be quite as big as it was before, but that's okay. We're going to scale it up again. We got 25.89 times 1.618. You can round these off too if that feels a little bit better to you. It's up to you. Let's go from regular up to medium. And now that looks like, for me, this looks like a better typographic scale. We have H1, H2, and a body copy. You can keep going if you want. You don't really need to though, right? I think what would be really cool is to, now we're gonna mix some of these skills up, right? We've used size, we've used scale, we've used pairing of typefaces. Why don't we go back and use color a little bit? So why don't we choose a nice off color? And now we feel like we're building out a little system that we can reuse. Now here's where we're gonna start getting kind of designy. Oh, sorry, really quick. Let's kick back over to Grid Lover. You can try some of these different scales. This is the golden section, but you can try a major third scale. You can try a major 10th scale. You can just play around with these and you can edit them to your liking. It's even gonna kick out some front end code, and everything is relative and based off of each other. So play around with a little Grid Lover stuff, have some fun, check things out. But back to our design, how do we use this, like practically speaking? Well, let's do this. Let's start building out our design and you'll see how this is all gonna start coming together. Let's take our headline. I like the size, let's just go with it. And let's put articles up here, okay? So articles, and then underneath it, what are we gonna put? Let's take this piece here and let's experiment. Maybe we want this one to not be our Casimir, but maybe we want it to be Interstate. We go back to our darker color. Maybe that works, maybe that doesn't. Maybe we need something kind of in between the two. Maybe we need something like this, a headline that has like a little bit of weight to it, not regular, but maybe like medium, not hairline, maybe bold. Let's do bold. Maybe we need something like this too. And here's the cool thing. I'm all about setting up some scales. I'm all about setting up rule sets. And then I'm also about exploring them and customizing them. Everybody's seen a generic scale. Everybody, you can be so rigid, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but feel free to design, to explore, to solve the problem, right? I create a scale and I go, I kind of need something in between. That's okay. Make something in between. Do you. Do what works for you, okay? So let's say this works for me. I'm gonna bring these things down here. Let's just move those out of the way. How about we do, first off, let's get some spacing. Can we get some spacing over here? Yeah, let's do that. What are we're about 42. That's pretty far from the outside. So let's go 25 from this side. And why don't we draw, well, hit E for ellipse. Why don't we just turn this into an interface? We don't want to do just nothing but typography, although that could be pretty cool. I'm gonna head into my plugins. I'm gonna go to UI faces and let's just apply a face in there. Let's get an avatar, something that works for us, okay? So we got an avatar. And now this is kind of like, hey, this is your account, right? Let's group these things together. But before I do that, I'm gonna come into my components. I'm gonna hit character styles. I'm gonna say that's my kind of like my headline. Let's go sub headline. Let's go, I don't know, sub headline, whatever we wanna call that. And we'll call this body copy, right? So now we have our styles saved. So now we can drop anything we want out there and then just correct it as we go, or just like update all of those styles. I really like that. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's do this. Let's go, let's make some, we're reading a blog. This is kind of like our blog list, right? So let's do popular. Let's do, I don't know, by category. Good, Adobe XD, just fixing my spelling. Everybody knows that I have a horrific spelling. I love typography, don't like spelling and grammar. That's a thing. By category, let's go by topic. Okay, we're gonna grab all of these. Let's just make sure they're distributed nicely. And let's get an active state. Now it's where we start breaking from our system that we've created and we start using some basic interface ideas, active versus inactive, right? So let's go, not hairline, that would be too insane. We can't even see that. Let's go light, okay? And back to our basics of typography, let's use color, right? Now we can see which one is active. Why don't we bring these up a little bit? I'm gonna hit L for my line tool, draw this straight across, and why don't we just drop the opacity on this guy? All right, and then I'm gonna hit R for rectangle, and I'm just gonna make some sort of active state. Let's take this background or border away, and let's zoom in, see what we can do with this. That's, whoa, I just drug my panel way far out, but let's drag this guy up and just to sit on that line. Doesn't have to be so thick, right? It doesn't have to be so thick. But now we have like a way of filtering things. I don't think these have to be so far away. We want everything to be related, right? Things that are related should look like they're related. So what just happened was they looked too spaced out. They looked like strangers. They look like distant relatives. We don't want that. We want them to look nice and together. So we brought that whole thing together. Let's group that. Let's just call this nav. Let's group these elements. Let's call this top. We're just cleaning up things as we go. So we are staying organized. And somehow I started drawing something. I did not mean to. And now what we need to do is define a style for the list items. And then we're going to use repeat grid and let it do the work for us, which is going to be super sweet. So how about we take our headline here? Let's write some sort of headline. How about like how cities are filling up way too fast? That seems like an urgent article that we should read, right? Let's bring our text over here to the side, our text box, so we have same spacing. We're creating some consistencies here. Now, one of the next things we need to talk about with your basics of typography and creating the scale is also talking a little bit about the line height in between each of these lines. So we can use the scale that we used before for the same thing. Let's see, here's our line height. We can take this. We could just play with it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. We could be exact though too. So let me see. Our size is at 25. Let's just round it up to 26 and make things easy. We'll make this 26. Now it's way too tight, right? Everything's too cramped. We need to let it breathe a little bit. Why don't we just do the same thing we did before? Times 1.618. And now we have some spacing. What's this one? This one's 16. Let's do 16 times 1.618. We're going to get, using the golden ratio that we've applied everywhere else, why not apply it here too? We get some spacing. Now, this is my thing. My thing is, if you like this, go with it. If you don't like it, don't go with it. It's up to you. I'm a firm believer in breaking rules where you want them. Rules are meant to be broken, somebody once said. I don't know. Let's see. I think this is good. I think we do need to make some space for some sort of visual. I don't think it's bad as it is, but let's make a box here. And let's bring this over, maybe up like that. That could work. Filling up way too fast. Why is that not? That's an interesting little error I'm having. Way too fast. There we go. It should be just like that. Okay. Let's bring in a rectangle. I'm just going to put this here, and maybe we could do something interesting. Maybe we can bring this rectangle kind of off screen. We'd do something like that. Take the border away. Now we're just having some designy fun right now. Let's do that. Let's go into our plugins. I'm going to go out of plugins, and where is my image plugin that I really, really like? Photo Splash. Let's do a little search. We're going to skip all this and just say, give me a photo of a city. All right, so let's select that one. Let's add that photo. I didn't have to go out and search for anything. I didn't have to go find anything. I just did it. I like that. Okay, why don't we even take this same thing and we'll create this nice pattern. So everything is kind of right anchored, or maybe we don't even have to put all this up here. Maybe we just need to put, Now we're just playing. Now we're just having fun. Maybe this is way too long. Is it too long? Probably. Who needs that much information for the list of a blog? Okay. And putting that there. I am going to tweak my line height just a little bit. I'm going to bring this up, and then I'm going to mess with my image like that. So now we're creating kind of a system here, a formula that we're going to keep reusing over and over and over. Let's grab all of them. Let's group it together. And now here's where we're going to create some of our typographic rhythm or a vertical rhythm, okay? We could do this and make sure that everything's lined up to a grid. That gets really, really in-depth. If you want to do that, I encourage you to play with that and try it. I don't have time to go into that today, but you could do that. For me, I'm going to use Adobe XD's repeat grid feature. I'm going to drag this down just like that. Now, my favorite thing about repeat grid is like it's really conducive to vertical rhythm because I can grab this and start moving things around to my liking. Let's look at that. Let's do 30 pixels there. That looks pretty nice. Now we can just come in here. Let's replace some images, okay? So it looks a little bit different as we're going down the page. I like that plugin a lot. That plugin's super fun. All right. So now we have just like a really simple article, like style or list style, and we can play with it, right? And what's the best? Oh, the best thing about this is. In your repeat grid, okay, if you want to play with it, it's going to change it everywhere else as well. Do you see that? How nice is that? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring this up. I'm just going to finagle it a little bit, just smooth it out. Maybe our image doesn't have to be that big either. And everything is working smarter, not harder. And you got your typographic scale and your rhythm. If you have any questions about typography, hey, please let me know. Put it down in the live chat. I'd love to talk to you about it. Now, this is real fun because there's very little imagery here. It's all typography driven, and there's rhyme and reason to everything. And it'd be really, really easy to come over here and start creating our next step from this, wouldn't it? Like we could break things out of this grid, for instance. Let's ungroup the grid. We could take all these, make them go away. We could bring these things down. Now we're just playing and having fun, right? And we can take our image, make it nice and big. There's our title. Let's get some more lorem ipsum in there. It's like you're designing stuff, and it's like so easy because you did the work at the very start, right? We could take this thing out, move these up, change whatever this is, maybe even ditch this and move this thing over. Could have lots of fun. Add some iconography in here, bring this all the way across. We're doing this really, really fast because we were just about out of time for the day. And that's how easy it can be if you're just drilling down and drilling into some of those typographic basics. Designs can be almost purely typography, and they can really speak some amazing things. And so that's pretty much it for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed today's challenge. Make sure you get the starting file. Make sure you post your stuff up to Behance using the hashtag XDDailyChallenge. I'm going to be on Discord for a little while after that. So if you'd like to ask questions, submit your designs, get some feedback, I'll be there. I would love to chat with you folks. And we will be back here same time each day doing more daily creative challenge stuff using Adobe XD. I'll see you guys later.